working to connect a region of over 600 million bridges between our lands.
Hello and welcome to ASEAN in Focus. I'm Judith Demera delivering to you the latest news in and around the ASEAN region on today's headlines. Indonesia's national carrier Garuda will call off a multi-billion-dollar order for 49 Boeing 737 MAX 8 jets after two fatal crashes involving the plane, the company said Friday in what is thought to be the first formal cancellation for the model. The Department of Finance plans to implement by April this year the tax amnesty on delinquencies provision under Republic Act or RA 11213 or the Tax Amnesty Act of 2019. And a man dressed in a Superman suit with a red cape flowing behind him jogs through Bangkok's heavy traffic with a Thai flag and banner, urging people to vote in Sunday's general election, the country's first since 2011. Indonesia's national carrier Garuda will call off a multi-billion-dollar order for 49 Boeing 737 MAX 8 jets after two fatal crashes involving the plane. The company said Friday in what is thought to be the first formal cancellation for the model. Garuda spokesman Iksan Rosan said the reason is that Garuda passengers in Indonesia have lost trust and no longer have the confidence in the plane. He said, adding that the airline was awaiting a response from Boeing. Garuda had already received one of the 737 MAX 8 planes, he said, part of a 50-plane order worth $4.9 billion, at list prices when it was announced in 2014. Garuda is also talking to Boeing about whether or not to return the plane it has received. The carrier had so far paid Boeing about $26 million. While Garuda's chief told Indonesian media outlet Detik that it would consider switching to a new version of the single-aisle jet. Garuda Indonesia director said in principle it's not that they want to replace Boeing, but maybe they will replace the certain planes with another model. Meanwhile, Boeing 737 MAX aircraft will be outfitted with a warning light for malfunctions in the anti-install system suspected in October's fatal crash in Indonesia. An industry source told media Thursday standardizing a feature previously sold as an optional extra. The development comes as the manufacturer struggles to cope with the fallout from both the Indonesia crash and another in Ethiopia this month, which have cast a spotlight on the safety certification process and shaken confidence in a plane that is crucial to its future plans. Known as a disagree light, this safety feature will become standard and is among the modifications the company will present to U.S. authorities and clients in the coming days, the source said on condition of anonymity. Neither the Lion Air or the Lion Air aircraft, which crashed in Indonesia, nor the Ethiopian Airlines jet had the feature, the source said. More than 300 people perished in the two cases. American Airlines, which operates 24 737 MAX 8, had bought the option, anticipating potential malfunctions, a source close to the matter told AFP. So too had Southwest Airlines, the plane's biggest customer, which also bought an additional primary flight display option, according to a spokesperson. Modifications are in the final stages, but Boeing wants to be certain this meets the expectations of regulators and customers. Neither Boeing nor the Federal Aviation Agency offered comments when contacted by AFP. A senior UN official has welcomed Bangladesh's plan to move Rohingya refugees out of the country's congested camps, but said any move to transfer some 100,000 of them to a flood-prone island would be voluntary. Volker Turk, an assistant high commissioner at the UN's refugee agency, said that the Southeast Kutupalong camp, the world's largest and now home to some 600,000 Rohingya refugees who have fled neighboring Myanmar, is highly overcrowded. The UNHCR official told reporters in Dhaka that there is huge congestion in Kutupalong or various camps in Cox's Bazar area. So they welcome the fact that the government of Bangladesh has taken very active steps to identify alternative settlement for the Rohingya refugees. He added that the UN was still in discussion with the Bangladeshi authorities about the relocation of refugees to the island of Bashan Char in the Bay of Bengal, but said refugees must be willing to move and be able to continue their livelihood there. International aid agencies, including a UN rapporteur in January, have raised concerns about the island's ability to withstand violent storms during the monsoon. Hundreds of thousands have died in Bangladesh from cyclones in the last 50 years, mostly in coastal areas. A senior Bangladeshi minister last week said moving refugees to the remote island, which is an hour away by boat from the mainland, will start from next month as the majority of the construction work has finished. In other news, a Vietnamese blogger who vanished in Thailand earlier this year is being held in a Hanoi prison. His friend and wife confirmed Thursday. Truong Duy Nhat wrote weekly posts about politics and current affairs for Radio Free Asia or RFA, and last posted about the prospects for change in Vietnam in light of major anti-government demonstrations in Venezuela. All independent media is banned in Vietnam and bloggers, activists, and rights lawyers are routinely jailed. The one-party state has seen an uptick of arrests under a hardline leadership in charge since 2016, with nearly 60 put behind bars last year according to an AFP tally. Nhat, 55, fled to Thailand in January and applied for refugee status with the UN High Commissioner for Refugees according to RFA. His employer and family lost contact with him soon after, and he has not been heard from since. The UN said it does not comment on individual cases. Nat's friend Pham Xuan Nguyen said he visited Hanoi's T16 jail on Wednesday and received confirmation Nhat was being held there. He said he took Nat's wife to the jail and saw the book the jail gave to the wife to register future visits. Inside the book, the date of his arrest was written January 28, 2019. It said that he was transferred to the jail the same day, the friend said, adding that they did not see Nhat. The blogger's wife, Kalti Swan Phung, confirmed the account to AFP, declining to comment further. His daughter, Trong Tuk Duan, who lives in Canada, said she believes he was taken from Thailand against his will. The circumstances of Nat's return have not been confirmed by Hanoi, and he has not yet been formally charged. RFA spokesman Rohit Mahajan said Thursday the organization remains very concerned about their contributor and his treatment in detention. This is not second prison stint. He was jailed for 2 years in 2014 for abusing democratic freedoms after writing blogs critical of Vietnam's communist leadership.
visiting the Philippines, Manila or Quezon City is a popular destination. But oftentimes the hustle and bustle of a city can be more stressful on your vacation. So when you feel the need to reconnect to nature or relax again, there's a beautiful oasis just outside of the city called the Garden at Ciudad de Victoria. That you can see here include hydrangea, snapdragon, and stargazers. They're truly beautiful. The gardens at Ciudad de Victoria are so peaceful, tranquil, and beautiful that it's become a haven for young couples and a very popular venue for engagement photos. The next time you want an escape from the big city, the garden at Ciudad de Victoria is a wonderful place to visit.
Welcome back. The Department of Finance plans to implement by April this year the tax amnesty on delinquencies provision on the Republic Act 11213 or the Tax Amnesty Act of 2019. Finance Under Secretary Antoinette Chonco said, quote, "You can implement it once the IRR or implementing rules and regulations is out and published." On the sidelines of the Tax Forum Series 5 on the Tax Amnesty Act of 2019 at the Senate on Thursday. According to Chonco, the DOF also plans to issue next month the revenue regulations or the RR related to the law. Under RA 11213, implementing agencies are given 90 days to ensure the issuance of the proper IRR for the amnesties, with the government eyeing to create separate RR or RRS for the various amnesties since President Duterte exercised line vetoes when he signed the law on February 14. Also under RA 11213, the government is expected to provide an estate tax amnesty for 1 year as well as a tax amnesty on delinquencies for 2 years. The measure is expected to generate revenues estimated at 27.54 billion pesos, lower than the estimated potential revenues of 63.5 billion pesos under the DOF's original amnesty proposal. Its tax amnesty on delinquencies effective 1 year from the time of the issuance of the regulation, Chonco said. When they finish the IRR, it will be published, then it's effective already, then you count 1 year from there. The DOF's original proposal on amnesties under Package 1B of the Comprehensive Tax Reform Program or the CTRP includes measure estimated to generate revenues. These measures include estate tax amnesty, estimated to generate 6.28 billion pesos, general tax amnesty, 13.63 billion pesos, amnesty on delinquencies, 27.16 billion pesos, lifting of the bank's secrecy law for criminal cases as well as the automatic exchange of information or the AEOI with 16.6 billion pesos. Duterte retained only the provisions on estate tax amnesty and the amnesty on delinquency taxes. Earlier, the DOF pointed out there is an estimated 80 billion pesos worth of tax delinquencies pending in the books of the Bureau of Internal Revenue. According to Chonco, the DOF would issue the RR for estate tax amnesty after the issuance of the RR for tax amnesty on delinquencies. The regulations for estate tax amnesty are a bit more complex, so maybe soon after that, she told reporters they just need to clarify issues like those that need coordinating with other agencies like LRA or the Land Registration Authority. Meanwhile, the Gokongwei-owned Universal Robina Corporation, or the URC, opened on Thursday its more than 1 billion peso worth of expanded flour milling operations in Davao to reach more domestic and Southeast Asian markets. Lance Gokongwei, President and CEO of JG Summit Holdings, said its URC flour milling operation in Davao has added a new plant to its existing plant in Kilometer 10 in Barangay Sasa, a busy seaport and industrial zone north of downtown. From producing 600 metric tons daily from its first plant, the expansion increased a total production to 900 MT, which Gokongwei described as a strategic move for the company to help support the growth in the area of export business for Southeast Asia. Naida Ibarra, Sales Marketing and Distribution Director, said about 10% of the total production of Davao plant is earmarked for export 10 or export to Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia, and soon in Myanmar. The Davao plant was only recently tapped to supply the export demand, she added. Gerardo Magadia, Manufacturing Director of the URC Flour and Pasta Division, said even locally, some provinces are still emerging markets, and the expansion of this plant would enable them to reach those markets. He said as one of the pioneers in the country's flour milling industry, they have to be at the forefront. The Davao expansion plant is fitted with state-of-the-art equipment designed and supplied by its partner Buer, using Swiss technology. URC said in a statement, the operation is fully automated, it added, from wheat intake to bagged flour palletizing. In other news, Indonesia threatened to ban imports of some goods from the European Union in retaliation for the bloc's move to impose stricter limits on how palm oil can be used in green fuels. The world's largest palm oil producer is considering such a step to protect the interest of almost 20 million people, whose livelihood is tied to the commodity, Indonesia's coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs, Luhut Panjaitan, told reporters in Jakarta on Wednesday. The minister hinted that jets manufactured by European companies could be among the target for boycott, saying the country would require about 2,500 aircraft in the next 2 decades. There are a lot of European products that we need, Panjaitan said. We have 269 million people in Indonesia. We have a big market. Palm oil has emerged as a flashpoint in a potential trade war between the European Union and top producers Indonesia and Malaysia, which together account for about 85% of global supply. The European Commission last week restricted the type supply of fuels from the vegetable oil that may be counted toward its renewable energy goals. The proposed EU curbs have weighed on benchmark palm prices, which have fallen for 5 quarters in a row. Indonesia is also planning to launch a formal protest with the World Trade Organization if the European Union ratifies the proposal. Coordinating Minister for Economic Affairs Darmin Nasution said, palm oil was not just an export earner for Indonesia, as it was instrumental in lowering poverty and therefore meeting a key criteria of the Sustainable Development Goals, he said.
Here at the Shoe Museum in Marikina in the Philippines, reminding you to watch Digital News every Tuesday and Thursday at 7:30 p.m. And I am 1 for 25.
Marso, magbigay pugay tayo sa lahat ng mga kababaihan, hindi lamang sa telebisyon o pelikula, kundi sa lahat ng leading ladies ng buhay natin, ang ating ina, asawa, kaibigan, pamilya. Bakit di nyo sila i-treat? Sa sining magugustuhan nila? Kami sa MTRCB, hindi lamang tuwing Marso namin binibigyan ng kahalagahan ng mga kababaihan, kundi sa buong taon. Sana, kayo rin.
Welcome back. Jakarta commuters can spend up to 4 hours daily in their car. But now, commuters may get some relief as the traffic-clogged Southeast Asian city opens its first mass rapid transit system. On Sunday, Jakarta will inaugurate the $1.1 billion project, seen as crucial to tackling some of the world's worst congestion, which can turn commutes into hours-long endurance tests. For some commuters, the new line means they might now be able to move back to their suburban home on the edge of the Indonesian capital. Over the past decade, rising incomes in the country of 260 million has created a ballooning middle class and sent vehicle ownership soaring. But it's also brought hazardous air pollution and cost billions annually in economic losses as cars crawl along its roadways in the steamy tropical heat alongside an underused bus system. The 16-kilometer or 10-mile line will stretch from Central Hotel, Indonesia to Jakarta's south almost 6 years after construction began on Japanese-backed project. It aims to cut travel times between the 2 points to just 30 minutes from about 2 hours. Construction on a second line linking downtown to Jakarta's northern port is also kicking off Sunday with completion set for around 2024. With more lines envisioned in future. A separate elevated rail network is being built to link satellite cities with Jakarta, nicknamed the Big Durian after the pungent fruit that bitterly divides fans and its detractors. Dressed in a Superman suit with a red cape flowing behind him, a sweaty David Vincent Mayer jogs through Bangkok's heavy traffic with a Thai flag and banner urging people to vote in Sunday's general election, the country's first since 2011. Take a look.
I'm dressed up today really nicely as Superman Bangkok, and I try to encourage the citizens of Thailand to take their chance and to go to the election, the first one after many, many years in Thailand. About 100% of the people that are telling they go to vote, they tell me, yes, I go voting. So, and then I tell them like, you're not lying to Superman, right? And they're all like, no, I don't lie, I go to voting. So I think they will all go to vote, I hope so. Again, I don't want to support any specific political party right now. I want to encourage young people and all Thai people to go to vote and to take care about the country, because a military government is not a solution for long term.
And that is the latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Julie Timera and I'm Juan with 25.
Celebrating